absolutely. I'm very flattered to be included. I spoke with Michelle Murillo about April when I started my journey.
Yeah, I was trying to get in contact with you, and it dawned on me. I was like, you know what? It wasn't easy because normally for a reporter, it's easy for me to track people down and figure out where they are and who they are.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a person who is used to getting off the grid. So
Oh.
off the grid someplace. I was like, she'll get in contact with me. I'm going to go ahead and record.
Okay, sounds great.
Recording in progress. And I'm looking at now, before I start, Chris, say your first and last. And you prefer Chris or what name do you prefer?
I go by Chris Howard.
Okay, and then spell it for me.
CRIS.
And then your last name.
And Howard, HOWARD.
And when people ask you to describe yourself, what title do you normally give?
What title do I give?
Yeah, is it like adventurer? Is it former executive? What do you tell them?
Oh gosh, I really haven't given that thought. That's a good question. I don't know. I'm just me.
What do you say? How do you describe yourself?
So
one word.
So I would say that I am a project management executive who recently took a self-funded career sabbatical to hike the Appalachian Trail.
Okay. So I'll use former executive or?
Yeah, project management executive. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So I'm looking now at your Go Boldly website, and it's just breathtaking, Chris.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, thank you. There's some updated pictures though that you might want to tap into that I have on my. I've got LinkedIn as well as my Instagram and Facebook, so I can text that to you so you can get some updated photos, including my summit picture, which is, I think, the key picture that you want.
I see. Well, I'm looking at McAfee Knob, mile 714.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
My
yeah.
Goodness. Did someone come along with you to take these shots?
No, usually you can get strangers to take the photos and then you can edit them.
Oh, you were just kind of along the trail because you guys are all going through this. Okay,
yeah.
So I think I read, and then it says parenting here. Do you have kids also?
No, that parenting is about my parenting and what led me to, hike the Appalachian Trail by myself. So I talked about how my parents, in that blog, I talked about how my parents really instilled a lot of confidence in me in a very young age.
Got it. Okay. So I'm going to just kind of get stories from you, basically. So I read the background story of what made you start. Tell me that story again. So you were an executive
Yep.
At a major company, and what happened?
So it was a kind of a culmination of things. I was caught up in the vortex of life. Everything's go, 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 fast, fast, fast. And I was in this kind of crossroads of my career. And I knew I needed a change, but I didn't know what. And I started to look around and nothing just felt right. And then I used to be an Ironman athlete. And so I got injured in my back. And I'm no longer able to run or to cycle like I used to. And I missed that part of myself. And I needed something to really showcase my endurance self. I missed that part of me. And then I got melanoma, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And so with the melanoma, I thought, you know what, I need to live life today. I don't know, I don't want to wait for retirement. And so I made the choice to go boldly and take this grand adventure and don't wait for retirement, but do it now while my body still can.
And this was all self-funded?
This was self-funded. Mm-hmm.
So you're out there, kind of by yourself? Let me start this way. So why did you pick the Appalachian Trail?
So the Appalachian Trail, first of all, is familiar. It's only an hour outside of the DC area. And so it had a familiar ring, but I also saw a map in my friend's house of the Appalachian Trail, and when I saw it, it was like a bolt of lightning hit me from the sky. It was like, that's it. That's the solution. Let's do it. And so originally I was going to go there with my friend, and for one thing to another, my friend didn't go, but I did, and I finished.
And how long, for folks who don't know, you traverse through several states. How
Yeah.
far is it? How long is it?
It is 2,200 miles, and it starts in Springer Mountain, Georgia, and it goes through 14 states on the East Coast, and it ends in Baxter Park, Maine, on the top of Katahdin Mountain, Mount Katahdin.
So you drove to String to Georgia.
I actually took a train, the midnight train to Georgia, actually. And I kind of got a kick out of that.
So that's a real thing then.
Yeah, I took a midnight train to Georgia. I just started here at Union Station, and I woke up and I was there, and an hour later I was on the trail. It was
Okay,
crazy.
so I'm seeing also that so when you first got on the trail, let's do beginning, middle, and end.
Okay.
First part on the trail it's 2,200. So that first, I guess, what 100, 200 miles.
Yeah.
Thoughts were what? What were you learning? What were you seeing?
Well, I had no background in hiking and definitely not camping. I'm a self-described princess. I kind of like my luxury, and but I knew that this adventure would be good for me. But at the same time, I had no idea what I was doing. And so there's lots of people who also are on the trail. And so I kind of learned on the job, if you will. And so while I was hiking by myself, I was never alone. There was lots of people around me, and they all showed me the ropes. I practiced pitching my tent once, and it wasn't very good. And then when I was on the trail, they showed me better ways to pitch my tent and how to cook and how to survive and how to deal with the rain and all of the elements. And I just, just soaked it all up while I was doing it.
Did you feel safe? At any point did you ever not feel safe?
No, I never did. And in fact, I even had a close encounter with a bear I actually saw 20 bears on trail, but there was one particular bear who was, I think, an adolescent male and just wasn't afraid of anything. And he was circling me and two other friends and actually started to approach us because he wanted to get inside of our packs. That's what he knew that there was food in there. And so all we did is we just yelled at him, and he moved away. He started walking away, and as soon as we stopped yelling, he turned around, came right back back to us. But that whole time, I never was afraid. I knew that bear was not a threat to me. He just was hungry. That's all.
What about of humans? I mean, I just feel like okay, the animals will probably leave me alone, but did you ever feel like you're walking up with complete strangers?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, complete strangers. And you even meet strangers at trail intersections also. But instead of being afraid, what I found is that the Appalachian Trail promotes this most amazing community where it is the culture to pay it forward. So these strangers would come out for no reason, and they would fill up their car with hamburgers and hot dogs and potato chips and things to charge our batteries and cell phones and snacks and beer, and they just wanted to make sure that we were okay. So it's very rare to have any danger. In fact, usually the strangers showed just this extraordinary kindness that you don't get in the city.
Okay. Number one lesson you learned on this first leg of the trip?
Number one lesson is that I can do it. I can really do this. I really was filled with self-doubts, and even though I just jumped off the ledge and decided to take this risk and this grand adventure, there's still in the back of my mind, I wasn't really sure that I could. And I learned, yeah, I can do this. This is within my world of possibilities.
So what about that middle leg? What was the one thing that you remember the most from the middle portion of being on the trail? At
So
this point, what states are you in at this point?
yeah, so I would say that the romance of the trail started to wear off in Pennsylvania, and it got really grueling and just hard. We call it the grind around New Jersey and New York, and it just was a daily chore. I was surrounded with mosquitoes and bees and bugs, and it was extraordinarily hot. And we had the smoke that was from the Canadian wildfires, and there was really no views because of it. So you're working all day long and climbing these rocks and toiling, and there was no reward. And so what I learned is that I just needed to dig deep inside and just remember that not only can I do this, but I want to do this. And I had to just look at and find the joy in the process, the small little victories. So I found that there's a lot of beauty everywhere, not just in the human kindness that I talked about, but just appreciating the wildflowers that are on the trail and the different kinds of trees and the different rock formations and becoming one with nature, and being able to not be influenced in a negative way by that grind.
Wow, most people would just kind of go home at this point, right?
And they did. The success rate is anywhere from 20 to 25% of those who start the trail actually finish. And I would not be surprised if it's a lot less this year, because we had, at least during the summer, 61% of the days were rain. And so with that, there was the mud and the discomfort, and you're wet, everything's wet. It was just really, really uncomfortable. So I wouldn't be surprised if the success rate is much less than 20% this year.
How much did your Ironman experience help you at this point of the trail?
I relied on it every day. In fact, I think it was a great advantage that I had, because I really enjoy pushing my body. And when I really started to trust my back, and I had to do a lot of exercises and my own physical therapy, if you will, on the trail to protect my back from going out. And I just I just really enjoy pushing myself and exerting, just pushing that boundary, that physical boundary, and seeing what I'm able to do. And usually what I'm able to do far exceeds what I think I'm able to do.
I don't know if I asked this one, but big lesson in the middle part.
That how to overcome that tenacity and how to overcome the grind.
Okay, so now you're at the point where, what is it? You said 25, only 25%. So now 75% of the people don't ever get to the point that you're getting to now, which
Yeah.
is that last portion.
Yeah.
Are you seeing fewer people out there at this point?
Yeah, and the dynamics of the trail also changed. So at the beginning of the trail, there was a lot of festivities, there was fires, people would laugh and have these campfires and tell stories and sing songs, and it was very festive atmosphere. Towards the end, people were just grinding it out and getting the miles in and getting the job done. So those people who were towards the end were very disciplined, hardworking, goal-oriented, and really had their sights set on the goal, because that was the reason why they were out there. So the fun started to to slow down a little bit.
By this point, how did the trail change? What were you seeing? What did the weather
Yeah, it got harder and in every sense. So especially around, I think it was about mile 1500, I had a life-threatening asthma exacerbation, and I had every reason not to continue, and but I still had that goal. I still needed to achieve that goal, and so the trail itself also got much more difficult. So the terrain, I mentioned, was constantly muddy. We had several river crossings that were waist deep, with rushing water because of the floods. There was some workarounds for those flooded streams, but even those workarounds were flooded. There was a lot of rock scrambling, which required technical climbing, including, your hands. You had to use your hands to lift yourself and hoist yourself over the rocks. And then on top of that, you're just depleted. So not only was I exhausted from physically exhausted from the asthma exacerbation, but I was protein deprived, I was nutritionally deprived, and my body was just breaking down. And so that's it got to the point where you just had to keep overcoming those barriers, and your mental toughness is what got you through.
And then the day comes and you hit the end. What is the end point? Because I saw your picture.
Yes, the end point is summiting Mount Katahdin. It's in Baxter Park, and it's in the middle of Maine, smack dab in the middle of Maine. And it's not a tall um, it's not a tall summit. It's only 5,200 feet, but it's very technical. So it was definitely the toughest climb and toughest descent on trail so far, even before the whites in New Hampshire. It was indescribably challenging. But once you get to the top, there's a famous sign that shows Mount Katahdin, and that is the mark. That's the picture that everybody is striving for. And when I got to that moment, it was a real combination of emotions. I'm kind of getting emotional even thinking about it. Just seeing the sign just made you realize that, wow, I actually did it. And all of the trials, all of the mud, all of the rain, all of the hardships, all of the grind, it was all worth it. And then you think about all the positive things, the friendships, the beauty, the random acts of kindness. It all comes together, and it's this big mix of thank God it's over, and then, oh, I'm really sad it's over at the same time.
It's crazy because I'm reading your story, and when I was reading it, I was like, "There's no way I'm going to be able to relate to her." I mean, like, I love fitness too, and I love pushing my body as well. But I mean, I want to be at this. Is this White Hart Inn? That's where I want to spend my vacation.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Places like that. But as I'm listening to you tell your story and talk about the trail, and I didn't get your lesson for the once you hit Mount Katahdin. I'll come back, circle back to that. But I'm thinking, oh my gosh, there's so many things in my life that I've done this, and the one thing that I have 3 kids, and the one thing that I can relate to the most is really like pregnancy and childbirth.
Yeah.
This is exactly what it sounds like,
Yeah.
especially when you're in labor and you're starting out and you get there and the nurses are all nice to you. Hey, yeah, let's go. And that middle portion just kicks your A, and then finally, like, once you're holding your baby, you're like, oh my
It's the
God,
most
look at what
amazing
I've
thing.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the exact same thing. You're on this journey. So, for folks who think I can't relate to her, and then there are events in our life that sounds very much like the trail.
Yeah. Honestly, there's a real simple formula to doing really big things. And that is, you want to set the goal and then forget about it. And then really focus on the process and the joy and the small things and the little victories and the milestones, and really celebrate all of those little things along the way. And the all the little things build up and become one big accomplishment if you just keep going. And I think that's the big lesson and the takeaway that anybody can take from this is you can do anything that you set your mind to. You just need to keep going and just be focused and really find joy in the process, and it will all come together in its own time.
Was that your big takeaway on that last part of the trail?
Yeah, I didn't think I could do it, and I did. And I stood there right on the sign, just next to all these other people who I felt are stronger than me, certainly 20 years younger than me. I'm 53, and there's most of the people were in their 20s and 30s. And I still was there. I was with the rest of them, and we did it together. And to be included with such a group of elite athletes. All of them are elite athletes in their own right. It was just an extraordinary feel.
I would have never put you at 53. I got you look more like 35. But
And thank you for that. I do try hard.
you look like the inverse of 53. So what final thoughts? What this takes you to what? I mean, because how do you top this?
I don't know. Everybody asks me what's next, and I still have many stories to tell that I didn't get to chance to write about. So I'll definitely continue to write and to tell those untold stories that I still have in my head. But now I can't wait to get back to work. Honestly, I really have this renewed kind of vigor for. My passion is leading people to achieve extraordinary things in pharmaceutical development. That's my industry, and it's the same thing. It's accomplishing great big goals, but tapping into the magic that everybody has, and anybody can do anything. It's just applying that formula, setting those big goals, forgetting about it, then enjoying the process and keeping focused and having that discipline and don't give up. And so that's what I want to do next is apply that in a workplace setting.
I'm so glad I got a chance to hear your story. If you don't mind me asking, just how much you feel, I guess, comfortable with. What about the melanoma piece? I mean, are you still fighting that? How is that going?
Yeah, I think it's just part of my genetic makeup. I have that gene, and then I also have that lifestyle too. So it's going to be part of my life for the rest of my life. In fact, I have many follow-up appointments, and I'm supposed to go back to the doctor every 3 months, but obviously that didn't happen on trail. So I'll keep checking and keep watching and applying my skin protection every single day. So yeah, it will always be a threat.
Got it. Well, this has been wonderful talking with you. Do you want to add anything that I might have missed?
If anybody's hiring project managers.
So you want to go back to work? You haven't found anything yet?
Yeah, no, I just got back. I've been home for just at 2 weeks. So, yeah, so I'm just now, recovering. I'm walking like an old lady, and I'm just now starting to do some networking and interviewing and, looking for the next big thing.
I feel like you got it in the bag. I don't think you're gonna have a problem.
Oh, thank you.
If I have any more questions, Chris, can I eat? Is this a good? How do I reach you? Let me just.
Yeah. So you did the Go Boldly. Let me give you another email address.
Okay.
It's Chris Howard Rocks.
Okay.
And
CRIS.
yep, HOWARD.
ROCKS.
Yep, at Gmail. And
Okay,
you can
Chris
reach
Howard.
me. I do this. I follow that email much more than the Go Boldly one.
Okay. All right. This has been really good. If I have any more questions, then I'll email you at Chris Howard Rocks.
Yes. And do you have the summit picture? Because I think that's pretty fabulous.
You know what? Can you email it to
You,
me?
let me email it to you because it's really a great photo and shows the culmination of the journey.
Yeah, email it to me at, do you have my email address? gbarnett@WTOP?
I think so. I'll just reply to all on the string that we have. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds
At
good.
WTOP. Okay, got it.
Thank
Okay.
you so much, Chris.
All right, Gigi, it's lovely to talk to you and thanks for your time today.
You too. And good luck on the job search.
Oh, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.